paints, I have a little bit of a review video for you all. This is Vasari Oil Paint, a relatively small company. They've been around according to their website since 1995, but they don't have their products in any online store except for their own, and they only have 2 locations, one in New York City and one in Pennsylvania. This was brought to my attention by actual YouTube comments because I have never heard of them. Thank you, Alejandro Rain and Joe Ray specifically for pointing out this brand. I would never have known otherwise. But yes, I live in New York City, so I was just able to go off to their showroom here in New York City and pick up some stuff. They have a basic line that is not the same as normal colors. They do have an ultramarine blue, but the ultramarine blue was $28 and this was on sale for $11. So I followed my wallet and decided to get this. But we will compare it to ultramarine blue from Michael Harding. I expect this will come off a little darker than this because the pigments are definitely different. They list them somewhere. Yeah, pigment. Ultramarine and phthalo blue is in there. Yeah. I've had some experience with this since finding out about them because I bought some color and tried them out. But I'm going to give you all a more in-depth review than I did with the manganese. I'll pronounce that correctly one day. The manganese video from last time was just a pigment comparison. But this time I intend to go more in-depth and tell you a little bit of my experience with Vasari, my limited experience. Let me note that. But as an aside, I just want to go through one thing first before we actually compare it to ultramarine and mix it with a little bit of yellow to show you what kind of green we get. Winsor & Newton's Winton line. Some people would call it the lowest of the low, but there's generic oil paint brands that are absolutely worse than Winton. And Old Holland are like 2 sides of the same coin. They both have a certain stiffness to them. This, of course, is a much lower quality with much less pigment per oil ratio, and this is Old Holland. It's the highest tier, essentially. But they both have a stiffness. Winton sometimes is like painting with clay. There will be art classes if you sign up. They'll tell you never get Wintons. Do not get the Wintons. But Old Holland has a similar thing. It's difficult to blend. It's difficult to just dip your brush in it and pull out a big blob of paint. On the other hand, Michael Harding and Blue Ridge have a flow to them. They have a buttery kind of consistency. You can absolutely just dip your brush in that and go without having to really struggle with it like you do with some Old Holland and a vast majority of Winton. That's where Vasari falls in my experience. It has a smooth, buttery consistency, will blend like nothing else, and I am biased. I prefer that kind of consistency. I prefer that kind of, the way that paint kind of goes. I don't have ultramarine blue in Winton, or I probably do have Old Holland somewhere. I don't want to dig it up. But, yeah. So, Old Holland, Winton, more stiff. Michael Harding, Vasari, more flowy, more buttery. That's what we're doing. But first, we're going to put down the ultramarine to kind of just get a baseline. You got some, whoop, whoop. Yeah, that's in the camera focus. That's fine. That's fine. I'm going to put a little bit down. I love Michael Harding, and I love the flow of it. And I should probably get some white. Yeah, I'm good at YouTube. Yeah, we got some white. We're going to make a light blue out of this because that's important to know. I plan things very well. Yeah. Williamsburg, in my opinion, falls somewhere in between. Like, they definitely have good high pigments, much better than Winton, better than modern Winsor & Newton, frankly. But it's like neither stiff nor buttery. It's like, it's in between, and I kind of like that. Some of their pigments are even granular, and like, yeah. See, that's good old ultramarine, paled down, and we got it over there. Yeah. Now we gotta wipe that off. A clean palette knife is a happy palette knife. Ooh. Now we're gonna mix the ultramarine with a little bit of yellow, just so we have a baseline. Garbage noises. Yeah. Gotta put some of that down. How's the weather, everybody? It is absolutely boiling in New York City. I think it's more boiling in other parts of the country right now, in other parts of the world. But yeah, that's why the window is not open, why you're not hearing New York City noises, because it is just too hot. And my apartment faces east, so as soon as the sun rises, it is an oven in here. That's why, baby, the window, the blinds aren't even open. But yeah, that's a green. That's a good green. Yeah, a little dark, but it'll do. Okay. Okay. And now we're going to look at Vasari's. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Vasari? Vasari? I don't know. Ooh, a little bit of oil, but that's okay. Yeah, that's a different shade of blue, but we expected that. It's a mix of ultramarine and phthalo, but we just wanted to see it. A little bit of a baseline. That's a pretty nice blue, though, yeah. That is a nice blue. A little thin on this one. Maybe the basic line is not given as much attention. I've used some of their higher tier lines. Well, one bottle from their higher tier line. I did not buy a lot because money. But anyway. Maybe that was too much white. That was too much white. That was too much white. But yeah, that would make a good, that's a good sky blue. That's nothing, that's pretty similar to ultramarine. Whoop, whoop, there we go. Okay. Now we can mix it with the yellow. Garbage noises, okay. Gonna mix it down here because I made a little bit of a splooch. Yeah, after the initial first drop, the oil kind of settles and goes away. That's fine. That happens with a lot of brands. We got some yellow. Got some yellow. Yep. Also, sorry for no video last week. My computer kind of exploded. But anyway, I got a better computer now, so it's okay. This green is very similar. They're a little lighter. That's what we expect because it's actually phthalo and it's a lighter shade. But yes, standard ultramarine from Michael Harding. Michael Harding, that's what I'm using. Vasari. It's not, it's a mix of ultramarine and phthalo, as it says. Focus, thank you. Ultramarine, phthalo, PB29, PB15. Yeah. But for the, considering that I think this is the very high quality paint at the present, the company doesn't have a lot of distribution. So they have to let the products speak for themselves. It's not like Winsor & Newton that's been around for like 200 something odd years. And their quality has dipped because they are known. They have the reputation of being good quality. So they kind of let things slip. And they changed the whole where they're making their paint. They went from the English companies to the French one after some corporate shenanigans. So yeah, they have to let their products speak for themselves. So I actually really like Vasari. I intend to get more. But I also think that they would go very well with Michael Harding and Blue Ridge specifically, like the flow of it, like the way the paints work together. All oil paint can work together generally, even Winton's. As you can see, I've used this a little bit. But if you want the same type of oil paint with not as much stiffness like Old Holland, with decent quality pigment, I would work primarily with Michael Harding, Vasari, and Blue Ridge. But there are other brands that I frankly have never tried. Particular thanks to the one guy who tried to point out a brand of paint in South Africa, but I have no way of getting that. But I still want to thank you. Hold on, let me look up who it was. Hold on. Where was it? That's not it. It doesn't matter right now. Okay, I'll thank you in another video. But keep pointing out brands that I just don't know about, and I will absolutely look into them. And yeah, Vasari's good. Their website does have sales periodically, but also they will not let you check out unless you have $100 worth of product in your cart, and then they charge shipping and tax on top of that. So unless you're willing to spend $125, $150 in one go minimum, then you might just have to make a trip to New York City or Pennsylvania and buy some of that, or just stick with what's more generally available. They could probably definitely use more distribution. If they were available in Blick, I think they would do very well. But that's just me. I don't know anything about marketing. I do not have a marketing degree. They have their website on the back there and a phone number for some reason. Who makes phone calls anymore? But yeah, yeah. Sorry, I give it a double A plus, A plus plus, A plus plus. Yes, thank you. We'll take another look at this, and then goodbye. That's the Vasari basic blue in the bottom and ultramarine on the top. Thank you. Goodbye.